Hello, America. This is Professor Horatio Hackenbush back with another Madman's Perspective. Right now, we are currently embroiled in a major debate and upheaval about the immigration issues in America. Now, a lot of people like to think that these sorts of issues are black and white and they're simple and easy to understand, when the reality is they are not, and they are quite more complex and nuanced than a lot of people want to recognize. For example, we have to have some sort of immigration and border laws for our own sovereignty and safety. But we also need to have laws in place to where if people would like to come into our country and be a part of our country in America, they can. But it has to be organized. It has to be legitimate. We can't just let in anybody who wants to come in, regardless of with no concern for where they're from or who they are. There are people, there are countries that would like to do this country and its citizens harm, and we must take at least some efforts to try to prevent these bad actors from doing harm to American citizens. And that's why I do support having a tightly controlled border, and I do support deporting people who are in this country illegally. Now, you would say, well, you're on one side of the issue. You've chosen your side. But that's not actually the case. While I do support that, I also support the fact that we need to find a way to take these people who have been here for a long time and ask them to officially become a part of this country. If you're in this country and you want to benefit from this country, you should be a part of this country. It's not an ATM that you just go live there for a while, extract the necessary amount of cash, and then head on back to your household in your country of choice. Now, a lot of people are coming here to escape poverty, violence, upheaval in other parts of the world. And we have to be considerate and caring and compassionate about those sorts of things. But at the same time, we also have to control who is coming in and when they're coming in. We can't just have people coming and going all willy-nilly. It's unsafe for everybody, them and us. But while I do support that these laws need to be enforced and that these due laws need to be in place, I also understand that the current situation with the ICE agents is getting out of control. They need to take a big old chill pill. And I don't mean to make light of the situation, but I don't know how much else to say it. They need to relax. They need to calm down, and they need to understand they're dealing with human beings. These are human beings, and they are upset. And people who are upset do dumb things. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't protect themselves. I'm not saying they shouldn't be out there. I'm not saying they shouldn't be out there, arresting people who obstruct them from carrying out their constitutionally ordained duties. But they also need to understand that these people are upset and they are protesting, and that they need to take special care not to harm anyone unless it is 100% absolutely necessary. And I think these last two incidents in Minnesota were not 100% necessary. And I believe ICE needs to reevaluate its tactics and find a way to achieve their mission, and by doing less harm. On the flip side of that coin, if you were out in the streets in Minnesota or any other city or any other place in this country protesting ICE, that is fine as long as you were out there protesting. If you want to go down to your local lawmaker's office and protest there, you want to go to the Capitol in Washington and protest there, that is absolutely fine. That is what you're supposed to do. But if you're obstructing these officers, they are officers of the law. There's no denying that. You can try to twist it and spin it whatever way you are. They are a legal law enforcement agency. They may have a limited mission, but they are in fact a legal law enforcement office, and they are out there carrying out their legally obligated duties. And so therefore, if you're out there obstructing them and getting in their way and blocking them and physically if you're out there physically accosting them, then you are putting your life in danger because you are raising the threat level for these officers. And you need to be considerate of that. Don't be out there risking your life. I understand that the situation is unacceptable, that you just don't want to see these things happen. But unfortunately, you are risking your life. If you got out in the way of a police officer in your local city and tried to prevent him from arresting someone that clearly just committed a crime, and you threaten them or try to harm them in some way, you should expect to get harmed. That's just the nature of it. These people are under extreme stress and extreme danger all the time. And when you're out there in the streets protesting and you're adding to that pressure and you're adding to that danger, you put yourself also in danger. And you have to understand that. Now, that being said, I do support immigration laws. I do support a secure border. But at the same time, I think the ICE agents need to seriously tone down their tactics. But they also need to be allowed to carry out their duties unmolested. Now, that being said, the reality of the situation isn't we're trying to deal with the symptoms. And we've had decades and decades and decades of illegal immigration that was never really properly fully dealt with. And that gets very political, and there's a whole lot of he said, she said, they did this and they did that, and well, that's all very debatable and who's at fault. But with that being said, we also have to look at the causes of all this illegal immigration. And a big cause of this illegal immigration actually is the United States. The war on drugs has caused a great amount of unrest in Central and South America, and these countries down there are poor. These countries down there are desperate. Many of these governments have been corrupted by the cartels. There are tons of corrupt police officers and military officials in Central and South America. It is a very complicated, very difficult situation to fix. And we are partially to blame for that problem down there with our war on drugs. But again, keeping out things like massive amounts of cocaine and heroin and all that that's something we kind of need to do. Now, I think we should just go ahead and set up a trade agreement on marijuana and just get that out of the way. And I think we should go ahead and legalize marijuana and be done with that. Just so you know, by the way, go to change.org and type in "Save Our Hemp Industry" and sign the petitions on there to help protect the THC or help end the THC ban before it goes into effect. But that's a side note. That being said, we have to deal with what's going on in Central and South America. We have to deal with the cause of this illegal immigration that's coming from the Central and South America. It's not just a matter of these people looking for a better life. It's these people fleeing a problem we partially created. And we have to help fix that. And now, I'm not going to try to speak on what Donald Trump is thinking. Sometimes I think he's thinking clearly, and sometimes I think his head's full of pudding. But he's got something going on. He's got some sort of plan in mind. I wish he'd let us all in on it, because there's something he's thinking. It's not just a one-sided thing. It may be benevolent. It may be malevolent. We don't know. He hasn't given us too many clues. People can speculate, and speculation is, of course, the bread and butter of American politics. But that being said, we need to seriously calm down, everybody, on all sides of this issue. If you're out in the streets, protest safely, protest smartly, protest peacefully. If you're an ICE agent, you need to understand you're dealing with human beings. I understand your life is in danger, but you have to be careful. These are human beings. And also, if you were an ICE agent, let me say this just so it can be said. I don't know what has or has not happened. There's a lot of rumor and speculation again. If you are arresting people who are U.S. citizens and deporting them or attempting to deport them, you are crossing a major line with the American public. The country is in a very delicate situation right now. We're in a very uneasy place There's a lot of division going on in this country, and that goes back for decades and decades. You can't blame that on Donald Trump. You can't blame it on Barack Obama. You can't blame it on George Bush or Bush Sr. or Clinton or even Reagan. It goes all the way back to World War II, most likely, and probably farther, actually. If you go back to the beginning of the country, some of the politics was pretty ugly. So, guys, we've always had ugly, tense politics in this country, but we have to try to be countrymen and women. So we have to try to find peaceful resolutions. And our politicians have not been helping. They've only been fanning the flames, and they have a lot of blame to carry in this situation that's going on right now. A lot of these people up there have been there for decades, way before Donald Trump even got into politics. So a lot of these issues were created by the very people out there accusing Donald Trump of being a tyrant, which, again, is debatable. That's for another discussion. But right now, we have to have immigration laws. We have to have immigration policies, and we have to have ICE out there enforcing these laws. Otherwise, there's no point. But they also have to take into account that people are upset with them and that people are going to protest. But people do not be standing in the streets blocking these cars. Do not be out there physically accosting these agents. You are putting your life in danger. It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, what you're doing. This is a bad idea to be out there acting this way with these agents. I know you feel like you're doing the right thing, but these people's lives are in danger the minute they leave their house every morning. Hell, even when they're in their house, because there are people trying to dox these agents, and cartels have put $50,000 bounties on ICE agents. Their lives are in constant danger, and you're just adding to the fire out there. I'm not saying it was justified. I'm not saying any of these killings were okay. I'm just saying that you are walking into a dangerous situation and then getting upset. These people, I should say, are walking into dangerous situations, and then you are getting upset when they find themselves hurt, injured, or dead. If you walk into an arena with a bull and the bull gores you, you can't be too upset that there was a bull there because you walked in there knowing that. So, look, America, I want peace, prosperity, and happiness for everybody. I want my friends who come to America from south of the border to be happy and welcome and a part of America. You can't just come here and be separate. You have to be a part of the fabric of America. And you also, Americans, some Americans out there, you have to be kind and accepting of these people when they are trying to be a part of the fabric of America. This is not the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We have to be better. We have to move forward. And one thing you need to understand, it's going to take a long time for human beings, politics, and a nation to evolve to where it needs to be. And there's going to be steps forward, there's going to be steps backwards. But the more calm we are, the more peaceful we are, the more likely we are to make real, sustained progress. This has been a message from the Council of the Bad Men. You may agree, you may disagree. Feel free to debate it out in the comments. We are only here to offer our thoughts on the subject and to not take sides. We may agree with one side a little bit on this and another side on other side a little bit on that, but we're not taking sides. This is for you to figure out for yourselves. We're just here to maybe try to offer some sort of perspective. So, guys, y'all be safe, be careful, and expect more messages from the Council of the Madmen.